The revenue of trafficked victims in the U.S. is about $32 billion per year at about $13,000 per victim. Young women and children in impoverished neighborhoods outside of the U.S. need to be informed of how traffickers work and how they are targeted. How trafficking happens, how people get away with it, and the psychological effects of being enslaved is something that they need to know. Even if they think that being smuggled into a new country will better their lives, just because they will get away from their home and their current living situation. This is how trafficking happens. Traffickers target vulnerable people, such as children and young women that live in impoverished or poor communities or in abusive households. They are given false promises of a new life, getting a job, going to school, and being able to have a better life altogether. Young women are seduced and tricked into having a great life in the U.S. by their smugglers or traffickers. They tell them that they can partially own this large business that they own in the U.S. and make a lot of money and have a better life. Once they arrive in the U.S., they quickly learn that they have to pay off debt, which usually amounts to $60,000 to this person that brought them here, and they can't go back. If they want to go back, they would risk being killed as soon as they got off the plane and out of the airport. Or they would risk humiliation and being turned away by their own families. Many women have nothing else to do than go and be part of what their smuggler wanted them to be part of. This is how smugglers get away with it. They present false documents to these women and young children once they get on the plane. And after they go through customs at the airport in the United States and are asked questions they already know the answer to, these women were taught to reply back by saying, just because I'm not a U.S. citizen doesn't mean I can't afford to come to the United States. And they are let free and out of the airport. Once inside the U.S., the victim can no longer go back to their own country because they do risk being killed, and they risk facing humiliation of their own families and the entire town because they would know that they came to the United States to run away from their lives and to have a better life, and that is looked down upon in many cultures. Many people think that they can just call a SWAT team and have them invade these parlors or restaurants that these girls are working in, but that's not true. Someone has to get a tip, and it goes to law enforcement. Once law enforcement gets leads to who is running it and how many there are, the entire thing has to go through court. And once the people that own these slaves and traffic these victims find out that they are under investigation, they close their shop and move to the next block and reopen it with a new name. People can never find them this way, and it makes the investigation a lot harder because they have to start all over again. A lot of people also may tell you that they do want to be smuggled into the United States, even if they do have to be some slave to someone and work in a restaurant or a parlor, a massage parlor, as they would call it, because they think that they would really have a better life even when they do get free and finally pay off their debt. This isn't true because of the psychological effects that these victims carry with them after they get out of these places. They also risk being deported and going back to their own country with these psychological issues.